Hi everybody, this is Wes Hewitt, and this is a continuation of the activity diagram video where I stopped at just doing the basic activity flow. So today we're just going to talk about this starting where we left off before with the same toy which is composed. So here's a block diagram of the toy and its major components: an energy source, a projectile launching system, a triggering system, the projectile containment system, and a locking system. So we started at the last one kind of fleshing this one out, where we kind of went up to here and then we just ended it just to show the basic. So I've completed this diagram of playing with the toy here, where the child starts by pushing the receptacle into position. It's detected by the toy that it's in the proper position, and then it's secured in the receptacle. Then the child with the projectile loads something into it. So now there's something, a projectile is sitting in the launcher ready to go, and the system is holding the projectile, so it's really in the armed position. It's a state. Then the student or the child triggers the release, okay, and that detection, the system detects the trigger launch, and the command is sent to release from the child, okay. Oops, looks like we're missing a line here, so there should be a line right here. Okay, so here is the next sequence of events where eject the contents of the receptacle of the projectile, and it flies downrange. Okay, so that's a fairly straightforward, not much to activity. So what I want to do is update this one, and what I want to do is demonstrate a couple things here. That we want to demonstrate adding a decision node here. We want to demonstrate the merge node, and demonstrate using forks and what the difference is. How do you create them and what's the difference? And we'll even throw in a timer here too. So I'm going to quickly show you how to add these elements into a given diagram. So since this is a model, I have over here is the two diagrams, play with the toy and play, and I call this play 1. Okay. Now I'm going to copy this. I'm going to do a right shift and hit copy, and then I'm going to come up here onto the action. I'm going to do a paste. Okay, so this now created play number 2. Okay, and actually, I'm sorry, what I want to do here, I'm going to delete that. I want to copy this one here, and we're going to turn it into this one here. Okay, so I'll copy this one again, and I come up here to the top one, and I'll do a paste here. Okay, so now this created a new of lesser ones, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to delete the, so I'm going to go down here to where it holds the projectile. That's fine. Child is getting ready here, but we're not going to, let's see, holds. Okay, so here the child releases it. So I'm not going to let this detection happen yet. Okay, or I'm going to let it detect, but we're not going to eject it right away. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete this. It still exists in the model, but we're going to put in a little bit of logic here. And I'm going to give myself some room here, so I'm going to move this way down here. Okay, and what we're going to do is, and I'll kind of lasso this, move this, oops, I didn't want to move that. Move this. Well, we can always put this in later, so I'll just delete that out. Okay, so we're going to add the decision node. So right here, and I'll tell you what kind of decision we're going to make here. So here's a decision node. So there's two ways. I can either grab it here and drop it in, and then I'll come up here and I'll go into this control flow from here into the decision node. Okay, so what's my decision node that I want? So I'm just going to select it and I'm going to type launch approved. Launch approved by parent. So I'm putting a fail-safe device in here. Okay, so what are my options here? I'm going to, if the answer is, let's say no, I'm going to say launch canceled, and let's see, LA. Launch canceled, and make a failure sound. So I'm just going to kind of roll those two things into there. And so I'm going to select this, and I'm just going to type no if the parent did not approve launch. So if the parent approves the launch, come down over here, and I'm going to say eject the contents of the receptacle. Contents of the contents. Okay, so I'll move this over a little bit, and this is going to be a yes response. Okay, and then here you would have normally some kind of a merge. Here's the merge node. So instead of just grabbing the merge node, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to grab the arrow, but I'm going to hit the, I think it's the the shift key. Oh, that's not it. Let's see here. Let me hit escape. Oh, just hit the other button, and so I'm going to say merge. Okay. So whenever you have a decision node, you want them to come back at some point and merge right up. Now I'm going to do a little extra thing. I'm going to go grab that projectile activity. Projectile flies through the air, and over here, since I already created it, I'm just going to drop it here. Okay, and I'm going to, once the approval was given, we're going to send this node over here so the projectile can fly, and then from here I'm going to come back to the merge. Okay, so I've merged back up. So if there was a token going through it, it would either go this way down to here, or it would go this way down to here. And so the first token that arrives will allow this object will allow the token to continue on. Okay, so this is here where I'm going to demonstrate a fork option, and I'm just going to click here. There's my fork. Move it down just a tad here. Click on here, and I will connect to the fork. Okay, so now I'm going to have two parallel things going on at the same time, and that's the advantage of having a fork. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to have down here is I'm going to add a timer. And where's my timer? So here's my timer that I created on the other diagram. I'm just going to reuse it. It's a 10-second timer. And the other thing that I'm going to have is display the timer. Okay, so I'm going to come over here and grab this, drop this here. So these are going to happen in parallel. So I'll grab this thing, drag it down here, and do the same thing here, so that these things are happening in parallel. Okay, so that's a good fork. So a token would come down here and split into two separate tokens so things can happen simultaneously. So, and anytime you have a fork, you should have the join horizontal bar too. So now I'll come from here, grab the sequence, I'll come back into here, and the same here. Oops. There. And this is where the undo can happen. It makes it a lot easier here. So put it right on the thing so that thing doesn't show up again, that operation. Okay, so now I've got two things happening. Now you notice my, so the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do that final step that the projectile flies across. Okay, that happened here. Okay, and then we can go back to here and let's say create another object node here that the child, oops, I grabbed the wrong one here. Hit that undo. Object node. I don't know why that says central buffer. Don't want central buffer. Okay, so the child is happy that he just destroyed New York City or whatever he was attacking. Okay, so that's at the end of what happened here. So now just to clean this up a little bit, I would go ahead and grab my, you can see here, and continue these on down here. Now you notice some of these things may turn red because they say, oh, hey, wait, where did that thing come from? You know, I haven't allocated this properly. So all you got to do is click on it, hit the X, say add element to partition. Now allocate these things to the partition, and those little warnings will go away. Okay, so that's a good example of both using a decision and the merge coming back. A lot of times you'll use a merge and a loop too, where you'll have a decision and you may go back up and you'll put a merge node up here, and maybe these two things will merge before it goes down. So that's another way you can use this merge. And then these forks where you can have parallel operations or many operations. Okay. And what's the last thing I'm missing? Oh, I guess I should put in an ending node. Do a right click, final active. There we go. I wonder if it'll complain about that one. And it did. So I'll just right click. Okay. Okay, I hope that gives you a little more information on creating these things, and we'll see you soon. Bye.